You are listening to Mining Stock Education.
I think the market recognizes that this is a major gold discovery that will continue to grow in the future. And, to have achieved that as an exploration company is extremely rare as well. The system's wide open. So the big story is what's the upside potential here? And I could see, the system growing quite substantially.
Thanks for tuning in to Mining Stock Education. I'm your host, Bill Powers. And in today's show, you're going to get an update, a sponsor update from Kenorland Minerals. They put out a lot of milestones they wanted to achieve on earlier episodes, earlier in the year when we interviewed Zach Flood, the CEO who joins me today. And they're continuing to hit those milestones. Zach, you put out your Maiden inferred mineral resource estimate at your Frotet project that you're working in conjunction with Sumitomo Metal Mining for over 2.5 million ounces at about 5.5 grams per ton. Congratulations. Break down the significance of what this means for the company, please.
Yeah, so again, Sumitomo Metal Mining, they own the project at 100%, and we transitioned our operatorship there to them this year. But this is a discovery that we made together with Sumitomo back in 2020, and really the partnership formed in 2018, and after 2 years of grassroots exploration led to this discovery, and so we've been drilling this off for the last 5 years. During that time, we ended up in a joint venture with them, and again, just to kind of take it back a bit, we ended up in a joint venture. We had 20% minority interest. We converted that interest into the 4% NSR net smelter return royalty that we have today. So this has been kind of the biggest value driver in our company and continues to be the flagship asset. We worked on this resource estimate with Sumitomo. Kenorland was kind of driving a lot of the technical the geologic modeling, and which was constraining that resource. And yeah, it's a huge milestone to see the number finally, and really it's kind of a starting point. I think the market recognizes that this is a major gold discovery that will continue to grow in the future. And, to have achieved that as an exploration company is extremely rare as well. Any new grassroots gold discovery that turns into a multi-million ounce high grade, gold system, is very rare. And, yeah, so that's where we're at today, and I think that's going to continue driving the value of Kenorland going forward. As these royalties, as the projects that these royalties are on progress and effectively become more de-risked and closer to potential future production, the value of those royalties tend to increase substantially. And of course, the leverage to gold prices is also a huge factor. So yeah, I think it's great. We're coming out the gates with a solid resource, and I think we're seeing the recognition in the market as well.
Yep. Your shares are up 150% since we first spoke. The market responded very positively to this because you hold a 4% NSR, net smelter return, on this project, which Sumitomo can buy down to 3.25. So if an investor is looking at this and they want to value it, is the best thing to do. The gold price is this times 2.5 million ounces times 3.25%, and they get a number from that. Is that like the best back of the napkin math one can do right now about this?
Yeah, I mean, given all the unknowns, all the uncertainty and the risks still involved, I'd say, that's a good starting point for, what the future total revenues could be at any given gold price. I think, yeah, that's a good start. So, that gives you quite a large number. And again, like the resource is currently inferred, it's only based on about 130,000 meters of drilling. The system's wide open, so the big story is what's the upside potential here, and I could see the system growing quite substantially. I mean, given all the drill data that's out there in the public domain. You can see the system again is wide open. There's drill intercepts that are far beyond where the model is right now that indicate that the system continues. So, that's going to drive, I think, an increase in that value as well, is just how many ounces of gold are in the ground. And then there's so many factors, right, that play into how to value these things. Yeah.
Sumitomo is going to take over the operatorship of the project. How material is this project and deposit to Sumitomo? In other words, are they going to be making material disclosures via press releases so that Kenorland shareholders could follow the development?
Yeah, look, I don't know what, I can't speak for Sumitomo, and I'm not sure, where this, sits in their company. But I will say, Kenorland should continue reporting updates and material results from the project, given its materiality to us, and given our royalty agreement has pretty strong data rights in it too. So yeah, I'd expect, future updates and whatnot. But I think importantly too, what I have disclosed publicly previously is we're working within a bit of a timeline to a decision point on the construction of a decline and bulk sample, and that's probably the next biggest major kind of de-risking event. And again, I'm not sure if that will even happen. There was this mineral resource estimate that was coming out. I'm sure that they'll be doing some internal kind of evaluation on the economics. And as we were transitioning that operatorship to them, we were working on the permitting for the decline in the bulk sample and some of the engineering too. So all of that's kind of tracking towards that decision for that. And again, I can't say too much in terms of what their plans are. If those plans will change in the future, we'll just have to see.
Okay. Are there any other questions you've been fielding over the last day and a half since you put out the Maiden resource estimate that you'd like to share with my audience?
No, look, I think the market expectations were relatively in line. We did see an increase. I think that is due to the fact that the project at this stage has been de-risked more, given now it has a resource on it. But I think everyone recognized the significance of the discovery we made long ago. And then once we converted that minority interest to a royalty, we saw, quite the appreciation in share price since then. And there's a lot happening in the royalty space right now, so that could be part of it. It's a highly competitive environment, and there's been a lot of consolidation, and royalties of this size on deposits that are of great significance in tier one jurisdictions with tier one operators, especially near infrastructure. So all these factors, I think people are recognizing what the value of that royalty could potentially be. So really, a lot of it's just around, a lot of the conversations right now are around valuation, and again, it's really hard to speak to, given how little information there is right now other than this maiden inferred resource. But there's not many other projects like this or royalty assets like this in the market, and the ones that are out there are probably of similar scale and value at the time. I think we're seeing things like Sailfish and Vizsla royalties, and we saw Origin royalties get bought out by Triple Flag, and then Great Bear royalties. This was a few years ago, but kind of similar situation. It's really around valuation, and I guess it's good to have some more information out there to make those to kind of draw a line to what we think it's worth.
So this is your flagship project we've been talking about, but you have a lot going on at the company. The South Uchi project in Ontario. Can you provide an update and overview of what you're doing here, please?
Yeah, we completed just over a 7,000 meter drill program, recently, and we're waiting on assays for that. We think we should be able to put something out early next year. There's also some targets developing on other Ontario projects that are under option to Centerra. So those are I think going to be big big potential value drivers next year, given these are maiden drill programs on grassroots targets. And other than that, there's a lot of grassroots exploration we completed this year, so plenty of data coming in that we're kind of working our way through, and still more data to come from the labs on that front. And early next year we'll see what some of those regional targets start to look like. And again, there's always ongoing exploration in the background in Kenorland, and I think that's what makes it attractive too. We have this big anchor asset in the company now that's kind of backstopping a lot of the valuation, and then there's all this exploration optionality, option value, that could really turn into anything. And having a track record now of making a real big discovery, I think helps our case, for why we're going out and doing more of the grassroots exploration.
For those that don't know your business model, you generate the targets organically, and then you bring in a partner that can earn a majority interest, and they fund it, so you don't have to worry about the cash draining out of your treasury too quickly. What is your anticipated partner spend on your projects going into 2026?
So it'll probably be less than it was this year. This year was an extraordinary year. I think we had 35 million in partner funded exploration across the board, and there was something like 10 drill programs. So yeah, next year, given a lot of those drill programs tested targets and resulted in technical successes, or even less so. I mean, again, in grassroots exploration, the odds of making a big economic discovery are extremely small, but you do have to go out and you got to test things. So we tested a lot of targets this year. Next year we're going to be more focused on restocking the exploration pipeline, doing the early stage geochemical surveys, target generation. And I'd expect there to be a bit of a fairly significant component of partner funded exploration, but certainly not at the level we saw this year. Yeah, but
your treasury's at about 18 million. Is that right? Dollars, cash?
Yeah. We're lower than that as we go into the end of the year here. I think that was on our last financials, but we're still in a good position. I think we'll end the year with around 15 million Canadian hard dollars in the bank. So still looking good for next year in terms of our financial position. And again, we'll just have to see what all the greenfields exploration produces.
You have exploration exposure in a lot of the equities you have. Do you keep a active tally on what is the value in the market of all of the equities you hold?
Yeah, it's probably close to 10 million Canadian or something like that. So yeah, there's a significant portfolio there that we own. A lot of it's private, actually. So it's things that we were involved in incubating. And it may take time for those things to daylight, but there's a lot of potential in that portfolio. And we'll again see where it goes. There's a lot of stuff in the background in Kenorland that we're always working on, and some of these things end up creating a lot of value for us. Non-dilutive capital, for instance, from those equity positions, and it's really important to us that we limit that dilution, especially given an asset like the royalty asset that we have now. It's got to be a balance between, we do want to always continue doing the exploration and the project generation. That's in our DNA. That's our bread and butter. And that's what led us here today, with the royalty on the Regnault gold system that we found. But we've got to take, a pretty measured approach, I think, and make sure we're not putting too much capital at risk. We're spending too much of our own money. So, no, but right now we're in a good position, and we're still maintaining a huge amount of exploration in the portfolio.
The mineral resource estimate was a big milestone, as I said in my introduction, that you laid out quite some time ago, earlier in the year. What are some big milestones we should look for in the coming year?
Yeah, so next year, I'd say, again, looking towards South Uchi and Oronova, everything they're doing right now with us in the Red Lake District, I think is really important. and there's certainly a discovery emerging there. And also the work we're doing with Centerra. Again, we've been out there for 2 years now, working up these big regional targets, and they look like the expressions of, actual material gold systems. So we'll be putting drill holes into those next year, and yeah, those two projects are really important. There's other things that are happening as well, up in the James Bay region and in the Abitibi with regards to drill programs on early stage targets. So yeah, really tough to say, any of these programs can lead to a discovery. So that's really, I think, where people should be focused outside of the royalty is the exploration we're doing. Yeah.
Kenorland trades on the Venture Exchange in Toronto under the ticker KLD, and also in the States on the OTCQX under the ticker KLDCF. Zach, thank you for sponsoring the show and coming on for this update. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Bill. Appreciate it too.